Welcome back to my channel, guys. Chatty and real, just in case I don't forget. Yeah. It's not gonna up there still, so yeah. Um, so hello. How has everybody been doing? I got a few subscribers. Thank you. As for everybody else, yeah, wait. Yeah. Oh, no, I'm become big YouTuber. Anyways, guys, hi again. So we'll be having a discussion today on the topic of today's generation of men compared to the previous generation of men. Their morals and values, um, the way they carry themselves, all of that. Good old stuff, all of that. So I did send out some questionnaires to get some feedbacks or some opinions on the matter. So I will be reading a few of them and we'll be having a discussion. But before, let's jump into the icebreaker. So the first one would be, if you could have a do-over for one decision, what would it be? Baby father give me the money to buy the car, I should have lent him back. Oh, come to people, I know I'm gonna get the car. But I might delete this. What, baby father? Yeah. Anyways, um, what's the weirdest thing you believed as a kid? Me no want me alone do this. Uno, put it in the comment section, come me no wanna do it. Me did little, me did things far in the sky. Me did things far up in the air, firing up there, I float on the clouds. Me did things when the plane go, in the sky, I firing. Yeah, me did it. I'm not gonna do think that. So nobody come go and like, no want to show me up like so mad. That was a thing. That was a legit thing for most of us. Especially we whenever we travel when we're young. Yeah. Um, if you were a food, what would you be and why? If I was a food, what would I be and why? Aki, because me just love Aki. Why? Because I love Aki. That's the only reason. Me love Aki, me love Aki, me love Aki. So, but doesn't that mean the people that eat Aki? Because if you know me, you know. I have a relationship with Aki where mm, just Aki because of Aki sake. That's my, yeah, me and Aki go real good together. So yeah, Aki. Last one. What's one skill you've always wanted to learn but haven't to sing? I wouldn't say haven't because like I genuinely think I can sing like, in another life, that would be my talent, that would be my profession, like, I'd be a celebrity singer in another life. Maybe I was in my previous life, who knows? But I go on a piece, but we don't have to go pay for that. Because I'm like, my niece and my sister, everybody can tell you. I'm go for a voice out and I'm not normal. So I would have been a singer, right? And it's a skill that you've always wanted. I mean, I don't really want it because I've got it, but I want other people to know about it. Yeah, that would be my skill. But anyways, people, yeah, so that's it for the icebreakers. You can answer the questions as well. Feel free to put them in the comments. Yeah. So how have y'all been? What's been going on with you guys? I miss nothing. No one tell me. Like, people, I got up on the road a while ago. And I am telling you, Tufton, we need to do better, right? Can you keep on encourage people to have kids? And kids are so expensive, yo. Kids are so goddamn expensive. Mighty God. Every single time I go up on the road, I leave out of my house and with money and come back in broke. Because gotta be getting stuff for the kid and the kid is so damn expensive. But anyway, guys, so the first question on the questionnaire was, how do you think societal expectations around masculinity have changed or not between this generation and the past generation, right? So, T says, I think societal expectations around masculinity have changed a lot because this generation is a little bit more expressive than past and a little bit more feminine, but past generations fought for this. I mean, there are some, yes, there's truth to this. I mean, men felt, I mean, I guess men wanted to be able to be more expressive, right, without being judged or seen as weak, and not manly because you're expressing emotions and you're not always macho. Or if you cry, and people, even up to this day, people still do see men who cry or get emotional as weak. I don't agree with that. I feel like we're all human beings and men should be allowed to cry. However, um I got my whole can of worms with the feminine part, but that's true. I mean, men nowadays, not everybody, but more than the average based on what in the past, you know, kind of, so yeah, yeah. Um, S says, I think past generation men was more pressured into doing certain things than nowadays men. Example, past generation know it's their responsibility to make sure their family is fed, etc. Meanwhile, nowadays, if them not decide to feed you, you have to dead. Who cares? All right. So V says it has been changed drastically. Men these days are just not men anymore. These so-called men believe 50-50 in relationships. They dress feminine, they look feminine, they behave feminine. A man used to be the head of the household, the provider, the protector, but I no longer see these attributes in men. Okay. We have one more. Hold on, guys. Alrighty, guys. So, pieces, changes in societal expectations. Past generations were true men in every sense of the word. They carried themselves as men not only in how they dressed, but also in their mannerisms. That is quite different from today's men. However, in my opinion, today's men may have more respect for women compared to the older generation who primarily saw women just as housewives and baby machines. Alrighty, so let's jump into it, right? And see what we agree with or disagree with. All right. So for first question, how do you think societal expectations around masculinity have changed? I think back in the days, society expected men to be leaders, providers, they should be in the leading role. They should be seen as manly, very macho. Now it's more society is more accepting of men being emotional, men, you know, 50-50 with their partners. A man being in a household where they're not necessarily the leader, right? It's 50-50. We come together and we sit down, have a discussion, and we make decisions together, right? So that's the difference between then and now. Then things were straight and narrow. The expectations were clear. Manopeso, God, man, woman, kids, right? Now, I guess for a lot of people, it's God, and then we negotiate. The man and the woman negotiate, so it's 50-50, right? There's no, oh, I'm the man, so I'm the head of the household anymore, right? It's a negotiation. And while some of that is all well, it's okay to each their own. I don't necessarily have an issue with some of that, but then sometimes in us saying, oh, 50-50, the line get blurry, right? Because if you want me to do 50-50 with you, 50-50 has to go straight down the middle in every single thing, right? Because the minute me I come in and me I bring in half of the other, sir, yeah, everything up for negotiation. You know, and one time we'd be like, oh, let me compromise because I don't have to compromise. I'm doing half of everything that you do. It's a mean the line can get blurry easily right there. Um, for the part where P says back then women were normally seen as housewives and baby machines. Yeah, I wanted to touch on that part. That is so true. Back then, women had to know their place. You were housewives or and taking care of babies. You weren't allowed to work. You know, men are more relaxed now. Men are okay with their women and going out, having a job, you know, taking their 3 months off, taking maternity leave and then going back to work, getting a nanny and all of them something. Back in the days that could have like you understand? And also nowadays men are also so back then that was a thing too where women didn't have a lot of rights, right? In regards to you have to stay home, take care of the baby, you could have branch off, you could have go to school for get an higher education, stuff like that. But also on the other hand, you want to go to school and all of that, you have to finance that yourself. No. Because once again that whole 50-50 thing, right? As I said, women like a man will say, oh, you have to figure your shit out yourself. You have to, you know, go out there and do it by your own. I'm not responsible for you. I don't have to provide for you. A modern days no, you know. And so there are good and bad things that I would take away from both the past and the future. However, as V and T said, I do find that men nowadays are a little bit more into their femininity, right? They're, well, I'm okay with you being emotional and, you know, it's okay to be vulnerable. But there's just some little things nowadays where, I don't know, something about a manly man. Something about a man where just walk in a room and who owns that room. Something about when your man walk in a room and just command attention. Something about a man when you see a man, you just feel attracted to him. Him just a give manly. Something about that. You know? And once again, I don't think crying or being vulnerable, expressing yourself makes you weak. I think your behavior, the way you carry yourself can make you come off or seem weak. Right? So yeah, but feel free to comment in the comment section. Let me know you guys' opinion on that, right? But there are good and bad in the past. Back in other days, I feel like the woman used to get more often. Like spousal abuse was more common. Maybe it wasn't spoken about as much. You know, people because people cared about their reputation and stuff like that. And I'm not saying people now, and a lot of people now, and people now abuse their partners, but it's something that people speak out on more, and people are quick to walk away from an abusive relationship now more than back then. Back then, if people sit in a relationship and have 14, 15 people, they would be the same person beat them whole life till it tore them all angry and the person pass off. You know what I mean? So society now has made some improvements, but there are certain things that morals and values that I would take from back then, instill in them and develop it, you know? So, okay, men should be provider, but you can be open-minded to your female wanting to go out there and work and help contributing to the bill. Don't make it mandatory. Don't be like, oh, it has to be 50-50. But, you know what I mean? If you see me struggling and you want to help and we build together and grow together, I'm okay with that. So there are certain things that I would take from them and build on, while there are certain things now that I wish people were more open to back, right? But I don't want to go too deep in that because we have a few more questions on the questionnaires, right? Sorry, guys. So two. What's the biggest difference you've noticed in how men express emotions today versus previous generations? I think we'll touch a little bit on that in societal expectations, right? Yeah, I think we'll touch a little bit on that when I was saying about how men are more expressive now versus back then. But let's jump into it and tell you T's response. So T says, I think because we fought for equality. I think because we fought for equality, they believe they can be as emotional and as expressive as they want because as in, as emotional and as expressive as they want, and sometimes forget their masculinity. Um, hmm. I think T is trying to say because we said that we wanted to be equal with men, so they're taking it to say, oh, it goes vice versa. So if one can be manly, we can be feminine, right? I mean, given how this day and age around, there is some truth to that, you know. There's definitely some truth to that. But okay, T. Um so V says men nowadays seem to express themselves way better now than then. Back then you wouldn't see a man bringing home flowers. Um I do I do agree with some aspects of what V said. Um, Men do express themselves better now. I would agree with. I think that men are more open to having a conversation now, especially about like mental health. You know, if they're struggling, they're more open to asking for help. I think the past generation would be more macho and you can't make nobody see you as weak, you know, you're the head of the house, you provide for your family, you can't make nobody feel like, oh, you can't provide or you're weak and you need help. So you have to be macho all the while or you suffer and you're dead under the pressure, you wouldn't ask for help. You know, men are more expressive now, men are more open to say, oh, you did this and it made me feel this type of way or I'm hurt about this or let's talk about this and see how we can make this better. But then men weren't very like them say what them say and that or that. Or they just shut down altogether. I mean, I think anything was open for discussion but then. I'm not saying about the exception, but like the majority, that's how I feel about the past generation. Mm, so S says, I noticed that these men nowadays hardly express emotion. They let anger get the best of them, so they're quick to kill and stuff. Meanwhile, I think previous ones would more to seek counseling, walk away, or vent to someone. I don't necessarily agree with this. I think it's the other way around. I think past men they express their emotion. I don't think they might have like anger get. I think they were angry people, but I also think men back then cherished their women more. They were more providers. They were more protectors. You know what I mean? When as I said previously, I feel like abuse was more likely to happen back then because it was something like ush ush or whatever. But abuse happens now as well. But I think they were better protectors back then versus now. Now I feel like men want equality. Well, better go learn for kickbacks and them something there. So if somebody attack on, you know, nowadays men is not giving. Oh, if you're standing on the road and you're being robbed, somebody would try to assist. It's not giving that now. Yeah, I don't feel if I was on the road and somebody was to attack me, I think it depends on where I am. But if somebody was to just randomly attack me, I think, and I'm gonna pass, the thing will just pass and continue about it these days. You know? Well, back then, a man would have quick have to protect you. Like a man would stand up and see a man abuse or assault you and don't say nothing about it. No. And I think that's the reason why it was more like under the radar and it wasn't something that was spoken about, because even if a man abused female man, and as wrong as this might be, even if somebody was abusing their spouse, I don't think that out in public they would be okay with seeing another man doing the same thing. I think they would have step in. You know what I mean? Man, I don't have an ego or whatever, but yeah, don't mind me scratching my nose or allergies or kill me. But then I made a video, my God, doctor, me don't come my allergies are, yeah, my allergies are taking out. But yeah, so I agree with this if we flip it, right? Yeah, I think nowadays men are more likely to seek counseling and vent to somebody. But then I don't think a man would have so easily go to somebody and I say, oh, you know, I say, oh, my wife had do such and such, and you know, no, because back then being macho and be seen as manly was your reputation, you know. So no. So question would be, do you think social media affects the way men perceive themselves and their roles in society? So T says, yes, I do, because they want to determine a child's future at a certain age that should not even be appropriate. And I feel like sometimes a certain lifestyle is forced on men. And I do think some of them are living in their truth while some are just followers and not living in their truth. Mm. So P says, yes, social media definitely affects the way men perceive themselves and their roles in today's society. So let's read S's. S says, yes, I think social media affects them both in both good and bad ways. I think social media can build you and bring you down at the same time. Agree with that. Yeah. I'm trying to find V's response. Oh, so she says yes. So social media is somewhat to be blamed because social media seems to be their role model now. Um, I do think so because people tend to look up to a lot of people on social media and have them as their role model, and not everybody is modeling proper behaviors, right? Um, way of expressing themselves. What are these people? They're trendsetters, right? They're we call it influencers. So they're just out there trying to influence somebody. Whether it's influence, it's good influence or bad influence. Not everybody that says, oh, we're an influencer, you know, or we're on social media as content creators or whatever, is saying, oh, I'm putting positive information, I'm putting positive content out there. No, a lot of people just out there and they just want to go viral, right? So whatever it takes. Because you have some people out here doing some things and living some life, it is literally like fashion to them, right? It's not to say, oh, this is my personality, this is who I am, I'm having gender dysmorphia or identity dysmorphia, whatever it is. I'm not even sure if those terms are correct, but that's not even the case. It's just that, oh, this is trending right now, just as how anything in fashion would be trending. I'm gonna jump on the wagon, so I'm going to be gay right now because the LGBTQ plus community is trending. So let me hop on the bandwagon, right? And you're out here and you influence thousands of kids because they look up to you so much. So you want to do what you do. So a lot of these men nowadays be like, oh, you know, it's okay to be feminine. It's okay to be to act and dress and look a certain way in modern days now, right? Because social media is saying that this is acceptable. But when you really and truly look into it, social media does do good, but there's a lot of negative and a lot of downside to it. And not everything that social media says or portray as acceptable on social media is acceptable or works in real life. Right? Like we have to get it together. Social media is not a real place. People go and put all their best on social media. They're going to put when they go on vacation, the best parts of it when they go to the supermarket and they're able to stock up their carts and they're stocking their fridge. When they get bonus, they're going to when they buy a new car, when they take out a mortgage on a new house. Nobody's going to post when the mortgage due or you can't pay it and the bank will call it down. Nobody now go pay when the bank say they're gonna take back the car. Nobody go post when a beer water in the fridge. Right? Nobody's going to post when the man try book the trip and the credit card company cancel it until they say you're not overdraft and I sell the overdue bills. Nobody's going to post those stuff. Nobody's going to post when they're at their lowest or at their worst. So social media is a facade. And sadly, a lot of us, not only men, women and children too, get influenced by social media. But social media is definitely not a real place. So I do agree that social media influence our men in a very negative way. Because on social media now, I don't see a lot of men portraying themselves as manly. It's like they're very disrespectful. It's like it's okay to be disrespectful to females. It's okay to bring down females. It's okay to speak to females a certain type of way. That's what they're portraying on social media. And a lot of these people that portray these behaviors on social media in person, they would never speak to their person, their mother, their sister like that. They don't exhibit these behaviors in real life. It's just a facade or a persona for social media. So yeah, I did ask a few more questions. I mean, maybe on a different episode we can go into it, or maybe we can go part two and go into it. But I didn't want to just stretch out this video um and just that alone, right? But I don't know. Let me know what you think, guys. Give me your opinion on it. I didn't want to go too deep into that topic here because this can go left. I like this can go left. This can go left real fast, right? But guys, let me know what you think. Give me your feedback and your opinions. You can answer the questions in the comment sections as well, and I'll read them. I don't know. We need more followers. We need more subscribers. Like share my content, please. So, I like. I would keep some of the attributes of this generation, but when I take the being responsible, the provider, the protector, having morals and values and standing on them, I would take that part from the past generation to give to this generation. A lot of those morals and values were instilled in today's generation of men. I go up on the road today, one man want toe to toe with me because he called me, I'm not answer. I waved. I wasn't being polite or anything. I was like hi, and I kept it moving, right? The man want bring me down. I'm just because he more in a feminine era than me, right? And I miss the days when you know. Oh, anyways, I don't know. Let me know what you think, guys. I did also something about my brain chip a while ago, but I don't know, guys. Let me know. Give me your feedback. Give me some topic when you want me to discuss or do some videos pan. I might do a part two for this answering the following question, the remaining questions, because I didn't get to go through all of them. But it depends on the feedback. If I get some good feedback on this, then I'll go more in depth and answer the remaining questions and the questionnaires. As for una scratch my nose and all them allergies, so me I come go doctor, they make know where I got. Toodaloo.